Magandang araw sa inyo mga ka-learners! Maligayang pagbabalik sa isa na namang lesson. In our previous lesson, you learned about freshwater ecosystems, the two types, how similar they can be to marine ecosystems. Today, we will look at something we may have taken for granted since birth: man-made ecosystems. Humans are the most successful species on the planet. With a population of over 7 billion, we are on top of the global food chain. We also have the innate ability to change our environment to suit our needs, the complete opposite of what the rest of the animal kingdom does, which is to adapt to their environment. What we seem to lack, especially in today's world, is an eye that sees just how much our adaptations have changed the habitat of many plants and animals. In this lesson, we will learn about the impact of human activities on natural ecosystems, discover ecosystems that humans altered to suit their needs, and how these alterations have not always led to good results. Let's get started! Let's start with something that you might have done without realizing it: landscaping. Landscaping is the practice of changing an environment to suit a person's needs, such as what you do in your garden. For your garden or flower patch, this could be simple things like clearing old plants, removing rocks and soil, arranging channels of water, and introducing new plants. What you may have noticed is that after landscaping, subtle changes happen to your garden. You may find it hard to grow new plants because you have driven out earthworms that used to be there before. Those new plants you brought in, they could crowd out your old plants. But it is not all bad. Those new plants you brought in could also bring new organisms that will help you grow your garden. These are subtle side effects of landscaping that we as humans do. Ecosystems don't need a large space. There just needs to be a space for life to grow. They can be as large as oceans or as small as that flower pot in your garden. What ecosystems need are biotic and abiotic components, like the ones we humans have made for ourselves. Well, let's look at a few examples of ecosystems that humans have made throughout the years. Terrarium. A terrarium is usually a glass container that houses a collection of plants and small organisms, usually insects. These are displayed indoors and look like a small garden, a perfect representation of a terrestrial ecosystem. Biotic components in a terrarium include all the plants and insects or other small animals you put in one. The soil, rocks, and the container itself are the abiotic components. All of these interact to form an ecosystem, and any excess or lack of each one might result in your terrarium not looking as good as you want. If you put in too many ants, the other insects might run out of food. Take away the soil and those same ants will have nowhere to build their nest. They will inevitably move out and find other place with soil. Aquarium. An aquarium is a glass tank or bowl filled with water. It's a small-scale aquatic ecosystem where you usually have fish. This ecosystem thrives on water, though it takes a bit more effort to maintain it. You need to make sure the tank is clean because unlike rivers or lakes, there are no other organisms who will eat the algae that eventually builds up on the walls of your tank. Clean water and oxygen is also a must in an aquarium so your fish can thrive. Gardens and parks. Your own backyard is a big terrarium, and you are an active part of this ecosystem. Since we have the capability to change any environment we live in, we also have the responsibility to keep the ecosystem going. Remember, there used to be an ecosystem before you had that garden built or your local government put up that park. It had different organisms thriving in vastly different conditions. Whenever we do landscaping, we usually change or even completely replace the ecosystem we did the landscaping on. Dams. Dams create man-made lakes. They are often used to stop fast-flowing rivers in their tracks so we as humans can produce electricity through hydroelectric power. Dams alter the ecosystem of what was once a river. Fish that used to swim in fast-flowing river will either go away or adjust to the standing water of the lake. Temperature changes will mean phytoplankton and algae have more time to reproduce. New species might also find their way into lakes, as a variety of plants and animals can thrive in still water. Turning forests into farms. The more humans there are, the more we find a need to produce food. Because land is limited, we are forced to cut down entire forests and turn them into farmlands. This does not allow forests to recover, and we eventually lose them altogether. Most species of plants and animals are found in forests, making them rich in diversity. When they are cut, the diversity is replaced by the single crop characteristics of farms. What was once a hectare of forest full of 1 million species is now an acre of field that only has one product, and the few animals or insects that might benefit. Repeated deforestation eventually leads to extinction or the loss of all members of a species. You will no longer see the species of a certain animal deemed extinct anywhere on Earth. Endangered is the stage that comes before extinction. This happens when the number of certain species dwindles to numbers so low they become in danger of being extinct. An example of this is our native Philippine eagle. There are roughly 400 pairs left in the wild, and their numbers are not increasing at a rate that can be sustained. They have been driven this close to extinction because of deforestation in Mindanao. The global pandemic has helped the eagle population with at least 2 eagle families seen in the wild in 2020, but they still need our help. You can reach out to the Philippine Eagle Foundation through their website, philippineaglefoundation.org, if you wish to know more about Philippine eagles. That marks the end of our module on aquatic and man-made ecosystems, mga ka-learners. But before we go, let's look back again at what we learned in this lesson. Ecosystems are composed of related biotic and abiotic components in a given location. When humans enter an ecosystem, changes are usually made. Humans have the capability to drastically alter existing ecosystems in any given area. When ecosystems are changed according to the needs of humans, these become man-made ecosystems. A terrarium is a small ecosystem similar to a garden. An aquarium is a smaller version of a freshwater aquatic ecosystem. Deforestation happens when forests are cut down and transformed into farms. Species like the Philippine eagle are driven close to extinction because of things like deforestation. Humans play a major role in maintaining or destroying an ecosystem. Your role in the circle of life is a decision you make for yourself. That's it for aquatic and man-made ecosystems, mga ka-learners. You should now have a better appreciation of both freshwater and marine ecosystems, as well as gardens, parks, and forests around us. Your mind should also now be more open to how much we humans leave an impact on our environment. Before you go, stick around for a short quiz or visit your online LMS account and take the quizzes there. See you on our next episode.